Hi, I'm back with another tech video, still on the topics of web methods API management, infrastructure as code, and automations of configurations. But this time, extended to the container world, think Docker, Kubernetes, etc., with a simple configurator project I just added to GitHub. Last time, I explained and demonstrated how you could automate different configuration items in SoftwareAG API Gateway by using Ansible and by calling the system APIs for API Gateway over REST. But frankly, there was still some adoption challenges with that approach, especially if you're not well versed with the system APIs for API Gateway and with Ansible as a whole. Also, when it comes to the container world where pods containers come and go frequently, it would be hard to apply configuration from Ansible directly. And so that's where this new configurator container project comes in. First, it shields users from knowing Ansible at all. All you need is to provide simple environment variables to the container, and the container will just do the work. And secondly, it works well in Docker or Kubernetes, of course, because it's a container itself. All you simply need to do is deploy the configurator alongside the API gateway, and it will start configuring as soon as API gateway service is available. Okay, now it's time for the demo. First, everything is pretty well documented on the GitHub projects, and you should be able to try it all by yourself. But here, let's walk through this together. Okay, so let's first navigate to the project on GitHub. And on that first page, you'll see all the configuration and actions that are provided by the projects currently. We'll go over most of them as we move along in this demo. Now let's clone the project on your workstation. It's a public project, so simply clone it using the HTTPS URL provided by GitHub. Now you have the project on your workstation. It's time to build the container. Navigate to the Build Container Image section and simply run the command. Now we're ready to try the configurator. Simply navigate to the Trying the Configurator section and go to the next tutorial. Here, the first thing we'll need to do is to start a default API management stack directly from Docker Hub, that is API Gateway and Dev Portal, so we can configure them with the configurator. After a minute, API Gateway and Developer Portal should be up and accessible at the following URLs. And now, before we start configuring the components, let's simply log into API Gateway and Developer Portal to check that nothing is yet configured. So let's log into Gateway. Here we can see that no APIs are there. Administration, empty for load balancer URL, for ports, for destination to Developer Portal, as well as SAML and various other settings that I will not show you here. For Developer Portal, same thing. There is no APIs yet, as well as no API packages. It's time to run the configurator. I prepared two options here. One, apply all configurations in one big batch, which is typically how you would use the configurator in a real environment. Or option two is to run each command one by one manually, which makes sense as you try this out. For this demo, let's start with a few manual commands, and then we'll execute the all-in-one batch. And it's worth noting that each of these commands is really about running the configurator container with different environment variables, as you can see in this Docker Compose file. Okay, let's now run the first command, which is the change password for the administrator user. Then the second command, which is about applying the external load balancer URLs for the gateway. Then we'll apply the extended settings as well as the runtime settings for the gateway. And finally, we'll add key stores and trust stores that we'll need for SSL configuration as well as other configuration items like SAML. Okay, let's take a break now and verify that everything was added correctly. So let's log in with the new password first. So it's going to be administrator with a new password. Then we'll go to administration and check the load balancer URLs, which are applied correctly. Then the extended settings, as you can see, we have applied several. And finally, the new key stores and trust stores are applied and added as well. So at this point, we've run 4 instances of the configurator, and we could run all the other configuration items one by one, but it might become a little bit repetitive. So I think at this time, it will be best to run the all-in-one batch command and see how that goes. And while this runs, let's take a look at how the single all-in-one configurator works. Essentially, what you do is add all the environment variables needed for the configurator to apply everything you want. In this case, we'll add all the environment variables for all the different settings we want to apply. And similarly, for the all-in-one data configurator, which takes care of adding the APIs, the applications, the packages, and plans, we'll also add all the environment variables needed for that, as well as the actions of publishing to developer portal. Okay, so here we are with the final verification steps to make sure that everything was configured like we expect. First, we notice that the settings we applied earlier were reapplied correctly. Extended settings, key stores, load balancer URLs. But now we have new ports that were added, 5566, 5577. And in addition, the HTTPS port has the key store and trust store applied correctly as well. So that's great. We now also have the API portal configuration set up. So the gateway will be able to talk to developer portal correctly, and the configuration is tested successfully. We even have SAML configuration applied. So that will allow us to do single sign-on on the API gateway. And we also have promotion management set up. Promotion management is the concept that allows us to push APIs and other assets from environment to environment. And here we've created 2 new stages for that purpose. We have users, new users created, new groups, user group 1, 2, and 3, new teams, which is where you apply permissions in API Gateway. But most importantly, the configurator created the associations between users and group. User group 1 having 3 users now. User group 2 having only 1 user. And also creating the association between teams and groups. So here the team custom admin role has 1 group. The team API providers role has a different sets of permission and 2 groups assigned to it. And then API users role, another set of permission with all the groups assigned. Now let's check out the data items. We have 2 new APIs that were added. We also have applications that were automatically created. Configurator also created API aliases, name 1, 2, and 3, different types as well, a simple aliases versus endpoint aliases. For these applications, we can see that we have created some identifiers, but also linked the application to some APIs. Application 2 is linked to different API. And application 3 is linked to no API at all. And that was fine. That was what we wanted in our configuration. Then we have packages and plans that were also created. And same thing, each package is linked to some plans and some APIs automatically. Package 2 has different plans and different API set. And finally, from a developer portal standpoint, we can see that both APIs were published correctly to the developer portal automatically by the configurator. And then if we look at the packages, same thing, the configurator automatically published the packages to developer portal as well. Okay, that's it for the demo. But before I go, some final technical points that I think are interesting. Number one is the configurator can be run many times and give you the same outcome. And even if you go in the UI and change something and rerun the configurator, it will fix what you change in the UI, restoring the state that is set in the configuration. Then the configurator never use any system IDs that are very specific to a particular environment. So the idea here is that all object lookups or even associations are made using human readable attributes like a name and a version. That way you are able to use the same configurator in different environments to achieve what you need. And finally, the configurator currently offers only a small subset of what's possible to configure in API Gateway. But the good news is that we can extend it very easily and add new operations or configuration items as needed. And that's it for now. I hope this presentation was useful, and I especially hope that you'll be able to try this for yourself and will see the benefits of using the configurator in your Kubernetes or Docker environments when it comes to configuring automatically the API Gateway and developer portal to your needs. Thanks, and see you next time.